just finished taking our water quality readings here at the entrance of the cave.
Well, great. I was hoping that my students would get a chance to see some of your research. Can you explain your project and a little bit about the experiment?
Sure. First, we have Lois here taking a pH reading with her pH meter, which tells us whether the water is acidic or basic. And she's also measuring the oxygen content of the water to see if the water can support aquatic life or not. And Freddie is measuring the specific conductivity, which kind of gives us a general look at what the water quality is. And this is David using the laptop computer to record the data we use from our instruments. David, can you bring up the graph on the specific conductivity readings that we've had for the last year?
I could see today's readings are pretty consistent with the other data you've collected.
Well, you know, the water consistency here in the cave is pretty constant all year round, and that's because the water sources originate in an area up on this mountain where there hasn't been any development yet.
Hey everyone, I'd like to introduce to you Mr. Bob Meadows, who is an expert caver from our local grotto, and he's going to be our guide today.
Hi, kids.
Hi.
What's a grotto?
Well, a grotto is the local chapter of the National Speleological Society, which is the national organization of cave explorers. Ms. Russell, I'm really glad you can make it today. This is a great introductory cave for your group.
Hi, Mr. Meadows. My students have been excited about this field trip all week.
Great. Well, before we go caving, it's very important that first we do a safety check. Now, every safe caver should have a good helmet and a helmet-mounted light. And you also need 2 additional sources of light. You need a good pair of gloves, and you need a good pair of boots or a good sturdy pair of shoes and some layered clothing. You're going to have a canteen with some water, a snack, and something you might not think about, but it's very important, a plastic garbage bag. A large one. This can serve as a warming tent or a raincoat if you get cold or wet inside the cave. So, it looks like everybody has everything they need. That's great. Mrs. White, is your group ready to go caving?
Yeah.
Good. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go. Yeah. Ooh, it's about time we got to go to the cave.
Okay, everyone, let's stop here for a moment and talk about how caves are developed. Now, you experienced cavers already know this, so let's bring you first-timers up to speed. David, if you'd hand me that laptop, please. Thank you. Now, who can tell me what kind of rock this is and how it was formed?
That's limestone rock, and it used to be the ocean floor millions of years ago.
Right. And limestone and water are the key ingredients in cave development. I have a couple of diagrams on the laptop I'd like to show you that will explain this to you. If you'd gather around, please. All right, here we see leaves and grass and soil. And as the rainfall filters through these materials, it becomes a very, very weak acid called carbolic acid. And carbolic acid dissolves limestone. You'll see here that the rainwater has collected in cracks in the limestone. And over time, the limestone begins to dissolve and the crack gets wider and wider. If you look at this next diagram, the water has actually created a cave with a stream flowing through it. The entrance to the cave has collapsed, forming a sinkhole. The cave has gotten wider as the water's gone through it, and in places the cave has gotten so wide that the ceiling has actually collapsed, forming more sinkholes on the surface and breakdown blocks down inside the cave. Speleothems such as stalagmites and stalactites have also formed. Everybody understand how caves are formed now, right?
Right, yeah.
Well, great. Let's go caving.
Look, Miss Russell, a bat.
Very good, Joelle. Being observant is an important characteristic of being a good field scientist. What you found is an eastern pipistrelle bat, which is common in this area. This is a good example of a full-grown adult.
Well, I thought it would be bigger, but it is kind of cute.
Bats are not these scary monsters often portrayed in Hollywood. They're actually quite beneficial to man. A single bat will eat its own weight in insects each and every night. Well, that might not sound like a lot, but when you take a colony of 100,000 bats and multiply the weight of each bat times the number of each bat, it's not long before you're in the hundreds of pounds of insects each night. People have been afraid of bats because they knew so little about them. Do you remember the video we saw in class last week of a wildlife biologist in a cave full of bats?
Yeah.
Well, she sent me a CD updating some of her research. If I can have the computer, I'll show you some of her work.
Bats are the only mammal that can truly fly. Here in the South, we have at least 15 species of bats. Bats are nocturnal, meaning they come out at night to feed on insects, and during the day they roost or sleep. Some bats can be found underneath the loose bark of trees or in a tree hollow, where other bats live in colonies. These colonies may be found in a cave, in an abandoned mine, or an old house. And over here, we have a small colony of bats. In this cave, we have two endangered bats, the Indiana bat and the gray bat. Endangered means that if we don't help save these species, they could go extinct.
So how do they protect the bats?
Let's see what Terry has to say about that.
The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service is a federal agency that is responsible for listing and recovery of threatened and endangered species. And part of protecting endangered species is protecting their habitat. And here at this cave, Blowing Wind National Wildlife Refuge, we have endangered gray bats and endangered Indiana bats. And in order to protect those bats, we put up this gate. And this gate allows the bats to fly in and out while stopping humans from entering the cave.
Let's continue down the passage. Everyone, keep your eyes open for other critters living here.
Here's the stream passage. Now be very careful, this is slippery. You want to come down one at a time. As a matter of fact, why don't you just stay there for a moment and let me talk to you. Here's something interesting. This is an artifact from an old Civil War saltpeter mining operation that was in this cave. This piece of iron was part of an old narrow gauge railroad track system that actually operated here in the cave. It's been in here for over 130 years. Saltpeter is a chemical that's used in the manufacture of gunpowder. And this piece of wood's been here as long as this piece of iron. This is a piece of oak, and you can see it's been hollowed out like a trough, and that's what it was. It was a trough that was used to channel water away from the saltpeter vats. Now, I want you to come down one at a time, be very careful, and watch where you step. Maybe we'll find some cave critters in the water.
There's a cave crayfish, and it's all white.
Yeah, I see how white it is. Not like the crayfish on the surface. They're green.
That's not the only difference from the surface variety. The cave crayfish have no eyes, so they can't see. They're blind. But if you're in a cave where there's no light, why would you need to grow eyes? If you can't see or be seen, then why would you need color? The surface variety needs the color to hide from their predators, but inside, underground, you wouldn't need the camouflage. And you know that some scientists have theorized that cave crayfish live as long or longer than we do?
That's strange.
Weird.
Hey guys, come on over here. Check this out. Looks like something in the water making its way through. Could be a cavefish.
Wow, that's neat.
Must be something else in the water too. You see
What
it?
is that? Yeah, I see it. Yeah, that's cool.
That's a great find, Freddie. As you can see, the southern cavefish is white like the cave crayfish, and they're blind as well. There's another relative called the Alabama cavefish, and I think I have a picture of them here. I'll show you.
Okay, let me see.
Can you see the difference between the fins?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I see. Yeah.
But the real find here is the other animal, and that's the Alabama cave shrimp, which is a very rare and endangered species that's only known to exist in Madison County, Alabama.
Oh, that is really neat. Yeah.
No, its only other known relative is the Kentucky cave shrimp that's found in Mammoth Cave in Kentucky. So this is a rare
That's
treat.
really neat. Yeah, awesome. Cool. See it.
Well, let's continue on down the passage and see what Mother Nature has in store for us.
Okay, let's go.
Hey, don't drink that. It can make you sick. Well, why not? Animals live in it.
There could be microscopic bacteria and other toxic chemicals in the water that you can't even see. It could be polluted by runoff from a nearby farm or from some non-point source pollution.
What's the non-point source pollution?
That's a great question. Would everybody gather around so you can hear the answer? For years, people believed that water pollution originated from one source only, industry. Laws were passed to regulate what a company can put in the streams and rivers. But now we know that water pollution comes from a lot of little sources around a city. Could be from runoff from an oil-covered parking lot, pesticides and fertilizers we put on our yard. So you can't look at any one company or source for the water pollution, but a multitude of sources. That's non-point source pollution. David, if I could have the laptop computer, I'll be able to show you some images of what this is all about and help explain it a little bit better. Thank you. Let's go over here and lay this on a rock. Gather around. I have a cross-sectional view of a mountain with a cave in it. It might help explain this. There you go. Okay. Right in there's a sinkhole.
You see, for years, people used to just dump their household trash, broken appliances, and other things down the sinkhole. But what they didn't realize was they were poisoning their own water supply.
That's true.
Rainfall would then collect into a stream and flow down to the sinkhole that was filled with the trash. There, the water would become polluted and continue flowing down the cave. At the bottom of the cave, landowners would dig a well where they believed was a clean supply of drinking water, but eventually, over time, the water became polluted and unsuitable for drinking.
Some people believe if they're on county or city water supply, that water pollution isn't a problem. Well, counties and cities have to get their water from someplace, and that's usually a large well. It ends up costing a lot of money. For example, this county recently spent $16 million for a water treatment plant to clean drinking water that used to be clean enough to drink without treatment.
That's a lot of money.
It is. It adds up. And who ends up paying for that? We do, in the form of higher taxes and water bills.
So it pays to be a good steward of the land and properly dispose of garbage.
Absolutely.
Hey guys, there's some really pretty cave down here. You want to go see it?
Yeah.
moment. Let's take a little break. As a matter of fact, let's all turn our lights off and see what darkness in the cave's all about.
Is that dark enough for you?
Dark, isn't it?
Yeah.
You remember the safety check we did before we came in the cave? This is why it's so important that everyone have 3 sources of light. Can you imagine trying to get out of here in this darkness without any light? You'd never do it, would you? Okay, let's turn our lights back on and go do some more caving. Come on, guys. This is called the big room. And this formation behind me, that's Goliath, for obvious reasons. Isn't that something?
Mr. Meadows,
Yes, David?
how would we find bats in a room this big?
Well, that would be pretty tough under normal circumstances, but modern technology to the rescue. I have a device here called a bat detector. And what this little gizmo does is take the sounds that bats use to navigate and converts them to sounds that are audible to the human ear. So let's see what's going on. Well, there are a couple of bats moving around in here. But I'll tell you what, it's getting late and it's about time for the bats to be leaving the cave for the evening, and that's really something to see. Would you like to go out and take a look at it? Okay, let's head back out to the entrance then. Right. Get some sunshine.
Yeah. Daylight. That was cool, okay.
They're going to go here and eat millions of mosquitoes. That's thousands of pounds of mosquitoes will be eaten tonight.
I would hate to be a part of
Look at how they just blot out the sky. Isn't that amazing? How many there are? Oh, there's hundreds of thousands.